Barney history fans, welcome to a brand new episode of Spots of Love podcast. I'm so glad you're tuned in. As you know, I've come back to the Barney history fans community for the month of December in an effort to try to give a helping hand with breathing new life back into the group. And part of that plan was to bring back this wonderful podcast for a short time, but still bringing the same love and fun as before. Of course, we started this podcast talking directly to fans, and it sort of grew into talking to cast and crew that worked on the show as well. But for these special episodes that I have planned, I wanted to go back and focus on the fans again. And the fan that I have today is an amazing artist and content creator and just all around great person from the conversations we've had with each other. Please help me welcome moderator for Barney History Fans and Barney fan Sam Pelt, or as more people might know them, Barney Millennium. How are you doing?
I am doing great tonight. How are you doing?
I am all right. I told you like it's here where I'm at in Nebraska. It's cold and snowy, so I'm trying my best to stay out of the snow and the cold. But it doesn't work that well when you have jobs to do. But
no luck there.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for agreeing to do the podcast. Like I said in the introduction, when I was thinking about what we should do for this month, the first thing was, oh, we should do the podcast. And then immediately you were one of the first people that popped in my mind to reach out to and see if you wanted to be a guest. Because we haven't, I ended it, I think, earlier in the year. So we hadn't had a chance for you to come on. But you're someone that I don't think we hear a lot from other than just doing your videos and things like that, which are always great. So I thought it would be cool for you to jump in. So I really appreciate you agreeing to do that.
Yeah. And I'm very honored that you asked, and I'm totally looking forward to talking, sharing some stories, and getting out there a little more than my standard YouTube video, because you're right, I usually, most of the time, I'm on my a Barney a day Instagram, or making video essays, or I'm editing the wiki, that kind of thing. So you're like in the community, but you're not really talking as much as the way you guys do. And so I think it's a great opportunity to get a little bit more outward.
For sure. Well, yeah, thank you again for agreeing to do this. You might
totally
see like looking down and typing. I like to keep notes because there's things that you'll mention that I want to come back to and things like that. So if I'm
of course.
know that I'm still paying attention to you, but trying to get some notes down as we're talking. As we always start with this podcast, I think the easiest way to kind of start is to just share our introduction story to Barney. And that's kind of the post that we put in the fan group today. But for you, what was your earliest memory of Barney? What got you introduced to this character in this show?
So it's if you've ever watched any of my live streams, it's kind of a running joke that each live stream somebody's gonna ask this question and I'm gonna tell the story again. And my story is really, I haven't met anyone else in the fandom that has one really similar to mine, because mine is so unusual, because I did not grow up with Barney.
Oh, interesting.
At all. Yeah. My parents were pretty heavy Barney bashers, actually.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I know. They no. My mom was very anti-Barney in the way that she kind of heard the I love you song, took it way too seriously, applied it to real life, and was basically under the mindset of, I can't show my kids this because the world isn't like that, even though it's a song. There's it's not that serious, we should love one another, but it is a song. So I didn't grow up with it, so because wasn't allowed to watch it. But the way I actually ended up getting into it was around 2016, 2017. I was very active in a couple of communities, mascot characters. I myself have been one, and I've always been interested in that sort of thing. So puppetry, that kind of thing, and animatronics. So kind of, and Barney was always in my periphery. And I remember, looking at the character costumes, especially, and some of the puppet characters, and thinking, Yeah, I really appreciate the artistry of these. These are super cool. I'm not sure I would ever be into the show or anything, but I can at least appreciate them and think they're cool.
Yeah.
Until uh it was around this time of year, November, December of 2017, when me and a friend of mine, he had grown up with some Barney stuff, and he was like, "Do you want to watch Barney's Great Adventure?" And I was like, "You
Mm.
know what? We'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot." So I watched it, and at the end, I was like, "Oh my goodness, what have I been missing? What the heck? That was so good." And I was so like taken with it that ended up watching it again the next day, just like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah, so and then it started kind of spiraling. I already edited a couple of other wikis, so I moved on to Barney wikis, met folks. The next year became an admin on the wiki, and then I started archiving and researching Barney history, kind of Barney history before Barney history fans,
Yeah.
and was started posting some of the stuff I would find on a channel, this channel. So and then that's where I am now. Pretty much, I've just kept going with that.
Wow, that's cool. That is a very interesting story to not have grown up with it and then be introduced to it. Um,
Yeah.
when you got introduced to it, were you an adult at that time?
Yes, I was in
Yeah.
college.
Wow. So your first introduction to this character and series was Barney's Great Adventure. That was the very first thing that you watched like all the way through.
Yes, it was
That is such
BGA.
an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Um, I always it's funny because I don't hate the movie, um,
Hmm.
but I always tell people like if you're going to introduce someone to the show, but for
Yeah.
me, back like Great Adventure is not the first thing on the list to show them because it's just
Yeah.
not it doesn't actually capture who the character is like you find out who he is through the actual series or the home videos that were done with the right
Yeah.
judges. So with that being your first thing that you saw, when you decided to then check out the series as a whole, was it jarring or different to see the contrast between what the movie was and then how the actual show is?
Um, I think for the most part, I was older, so I kind of expected that the show was going to be a different format. And from editing the wiki so much and kind of getting a basic grasp on how the each episode is structured and throughout the seasons, that kind of thing, like what they're using. When I first started watching the show, I expected it to be different. So I kind of went into it with that mind. Like, it's not like a movie, but it's its
Mhm.
own thing. And I, I enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
remember in the beginning being like, there is a song every 30 seconds sometimes.
What is
And
happening?
yeah, I was like, okay, all right, I'm following. Okay, we're singing now. Okay, we're moving locations. Um, and Uh, I never really minded that either. It was just kind of a, okay, all right, I'm rocking with it. But
Yeah,
yeah, no, but I definitely enjoy the series and its format as well. Especially the early seasons, which I've seen the most of.
yeah. Is that
Hmm.
what when you started to watch the series and decide that, "Okay, I'm gonna actually look into the show more," do you
Hmm.
was it the early era that you started to watch first? Did you kind of go to the beginning like some people might do, or how did
Yeah,
it work for you?
yeah, I definitely started with the first season kind of stuff.
Mhm.
I did actually go back just a little bit before and watch Barney in concert, which
Oh,
I
sure.
enjoy the hell out of, it was
Uh-huh.
really good. Um, yeah,
Cool.
so but yeah, I mean, I'm terribly fond of the early seasons. Definitely. Um,
Why do you
so,
think why do you think that is with usually it's because it's a very nostalgic thing for other Barney fans, because most of us, or at least the ones who are more vocal in the community, grew up with either the very early like era or the lyric era. So the 90s, the time that Barney was the biggest he ever was, most of us grew up during that. So when you talk about what's the best era for Barney, most people are always gravitating to the early eras just because that's what is nostalgic to them. For you not growing up with the series, why do you think it is that the early series is what or the early era of the series is what captures you more than any of the other ones?
Well, I would have to say probably it's the look and feel
Mm,
of those early seasons because they feel so organic, and sometimes they are so organic that it's to the point where it's like sometimes it's a little awkward, or you'll watch something and you're like, we could have done that a little better, or something.
yeah,
I like the ad hoc nature of it. It's also, it was so new and everybody felt so close to one another. Like everybody was just like on the cusp of realizing just how special and how big this thing was.
yeah,
Season season 1, 2, Barney, that is my favorite costume. I
yeah,
just yeah, that's why I've got him in my icon.
yep, for sure.
Yeah. So I love that look. I've always had an affinity for, the early 90s. I was born in the late 90s, but
Mhm.
the the beginning of the decade, it feels especially warm to me, and I don't know, there's something really just special about that. And like there were so, I mean, especially season 1, there's so many episodes and they cover so much, you know.
For
They
sure.
you know, and I mean, did it always come out the best? No, but I really admire just the tenacity of everybody in the early days where it's just like, you know what, let's try it, see how this goes. We're just,
Yeah,
where everyone was learning. And I
for
think
sure.
that really comes through when you watch it later. You could just feel how, um, you know, working together for one common goal just to make the show the best they could.
Yeah.
Hmm.
For sure. And it's such I've said it before on this podcast and then in other things as well.
Hmm.
You like you said, you can see how that they're learning as they're going and they're figuring it out. But it was
Yeah,
also such a very rare thing to happen that they had all the right people in the right places at the exact same time. That I think
absolutely.
if anyone was missing from that original bunch, from the writers to the body performers, voice actors, the creators, if any one of those puzzle pieces were missing, I don't know that the show would have been what it is now. But they somehow
Definitely.
very, very well picked every single person that was a part of that in those early years that just set the stage for I mean what became of the brand and what it was able to accomplish, which is crazy to think. I don't know if that could ever happen again with
Oh,
any kind of show.
it was a very lightning in a bottle moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so, mhm.
Um, as you got into Barney now, and you're kind of doing these videos and these kind of things, which we'll talk more about. You said your parents were against it, or when you were a kid. Do they know that you do the kind of videos and things that you do now? Do they look at the show differently than they did before, or are they kind of still the same view?
Well, I will tell you, it took a very long time, and
Mm.
for until sometime, probably, I think honestly this year,
Oh
uh,
wow.
what I finally was like, "Hey," because, I had insinuated in the past that I had a YouTube channel I was doing, and I told them in kind of broad terms what I was doing, but
Mhm.
after I was getting really serious with it, they were asked like, "Hey, what exactly is it that you do?" So I was kind of in a box. So I had to be like, "Well, here you go. It's him. It's the purple dinosaur." So
Remember that guy
and
you?
remember that guy you didn't let me hang out with on TV?
Yeah.
um, so and they were like, "Okay, that's interesting." And honestly, what kind of eventually brought my mom in particular
Mhm.
to a state where it's like, I get it. was I showed her I love you, you hate me, and I was kind of adding my own annotations to kind of explain stuff that got left out or
Yeah.
could have been explained better, or just like the auxiliary knowledge, and then pausing to explain that the point of this is a show for the 2 to 5 set. We don't need to be explaining how the world actually works.
Yeah, for
That
sure.
is so not the point. you know and she was kind of like, yeah, you're right. And then after seeing the impact that it had on you know so many kids and families, and then just how spiteful the actual hatred was, and not just how spiteful it was, but how pointless all of
Yeah,
it was, and it was
for
just
sure.
a side effect of the irony poisoned 90s. And how just because everybody's on the everything sucks bandwagon, so don't feel genuinely about anything, doesn't mean that's right, doesn't mean they were hating it for a good reason.
Yeah.
No, no one actually is walking around now that saw Barney in 1992 believing, I do actually think the world is a perfect place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, yeah. But so, yeah, it was only very recently that everybody was more chill about it.
Wow, that's interesting. I think
Yeah.
so. Say what you want about that documentary.
Mhm.
I definitely have a love-hate relationship with it. No
Yeah.
pun intended from the name.
Yeah, I
But
was about to say.
um,
Yeah.
but I do believe that if you are someone who had your uh had your thoughts about Barney of it not being a good show or whatever your thoughts
Mhm.
were, or you never watched it growing up, I do think that's a documentary that is a great introduction to the character. Because even though we talk about the second half and all of the negative side of things, for people who weren't a part of that fan community or didn't have kids who were watching that show, or they really don't know about the legacy of what Barney was, and then what they had to endure and go through because of it, uh,
Mhm.
being that show that it was. It's a great documentary for someone to watch and maybe not get the full picture, because
Yeah.
like there's pieces missing, and if there's not someone like you there who can fill someone in as they're watching, they
Yeah.
can get just a part of the picture, but it allows them to kind of see the intention and the love that went into that character and the respect they
I
had for their audience, and then also how ridiculous it looked and it was for people to just blatantly hate it because it was a positive show.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I definitely were in agreement on the documentary. You know, to use a phrase, it is pretty good for uninitiated normies. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
it's a
sure.
good starter pack
Mhm.
essentially.
Yeah. Well,
Definitely.
so great. You got introduced to the show. You became a fan of it and started doing this deep dive into it. Um,
Hmm.
what came what came first? Did you become a part of the Barney Wiki, or were you doing your videos on YouTube? For which one of those did you jump into first?
The wiki.
Yeah.
I joined the wiki 2018, and I was doing that for several years. I didn't actually start like in earnest making videos until last year, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was editing, I was archiving stuff, and the channel previously it was an archive. Well, when I would find something or was trying to catalog something, I would make a video of it, put it on there. And sometimes I would, link it to the wiki so that it would be relevant to, a certain article. For example,
Sure.
one of my favorite archive projects I did was the especially my Barney plush from
Oh yeah.
2000, the one where you can customize what he says.
Yep.
They wasn't able to rip any of the actual files that were on the website, because those lived in a server that no longer communicates to the website. But
Mhm.
they did have a bunch of samples and basic story or song examples of what it would have sounded like. So I pulled all those, organized them, and then made a video archive of that, so that what we do have from that plush can be, actually viewed and not
Yeah,
just stuck on some website in a web archive.
nice.
So yeah.
That's awesome. How is it a difficult thing? You said you had like worked with or managed some other wikis before jumping into that one. Is that a I when I years ago, like in the very early days of that wiki being created, I used to
Yeah.
be a part of. I was never an admin, but I had an account that I could go on and add information or change things.
Hmm.
I know it's a little
Yeah.
different now, but is it difficult to run these kind of uh, web pages and keep them up to date with everything that's happening or did happen or that kind of thing?
Um, it definitely can be. I give a lot of credit to our current admin bureaucrat. He's our head guy, um, Barney Miller.
Okay.
He's excellent. He in 2015, before I even got there, he got a hold of the wiki. I believe it was 2015, and he totally revamped it, updated it so that it's really modern. It looks nice. Tried to, started cataloging stuff, getting everything accurate. So when I came to it, it was in pretty good shape. I've edited wikis that had been completely abandoned for years and
Yeah.
looked terrible, didn't have hardly anything in them, but with a wiki this big, it's mostly at this point, since we've written all the articles for all the episodes and stuff for the most part.
Mhm.
Not all of them have synopsises of the plot and pictures. I have written a few of those, especially for the early seasons, but um in terms of like the best general information, we've got a lot of it. Most of it is maintaining, adding new stuff, finding old things, citations. A lot of what we do is finding Barney appearances, out in the wild that we didn't know about or we may not have had very much information about. So a lot of it is digging through newspapers. You'll find yourself, it's funny, if you work on a wiki, you'll find yourself in a lot of college or city county archives trying to find information about stuff.
Yeah.
So mostly what we do now is cataloging, archiving, that kind of thing. But so it was already kind of what I was doing, but with the added benefit of a lot more active editors, and we have a really um present and talented admin who kind of keeps all of us in line.
Yeah. That's awesome. I have to say, we I don't know if you ever watch our podcast Purple Rain or when we
Mhm.
did the worst Barney episodes, but there's always one of those article or one of those episodes or home videos or something that you get to, and it just has
Mhm.
the most random like facts that don't actually matter. That we're always
The
like, what is
trivia.
going
We've
on?
no, we've been we've been removing those.
Yeah.
So no, I totally feel that. We will occasionally be like, they're coming up again because
Yeah.
people just add them en masse, and then you just have to go and like, none of this is relevant to the episode, and just strike it down. But yeah,
It's so
and the
yeah,
good
it's
thing,
so random.
yeah, and the good thing about our wiki, I mean, most wikis are like that, but some of them are a little more strict. If you see anything on our wiki that you're like, I don't super think that's important, you can just delete it. Anybody can edit it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Good to know.
yeah, definitely. We're
Good to know.
like, help us out. We love to help the community and have the community join up with us.
For sure. That's awesome. Well, yeah,
Mhm.
thank you for the work. I mean, shout out to Barney Miller as well,
Yeah.
and all the other people that are a part of Barney Wiki that help it stay up to date and current and
Mhm.
edited information. Um, I think it's great. I mean, before you joined in the community and things like that, our community started on YouTube. A long
Yeah.
time ago, YouTube used to have kind of a community thing, and it seems like it's.
Mhm.
I think I saw on there the other day that it's like back again. Like you can create communities on YouTube, which is weird to
Yeah.
me. But
Yeah.
that's how it was in the very early days, like talking 2007, 8. And so the
Mhm.
Barney fan club kind of started there with the likes of Sonic Hog and Jen
Mhm.
and all those kind of people. And then it gravitated to Facebook as the Facebook got more popular. And
Yeah.
that's kind of where information was shared or you archived in a way. And so when Barney Wiki was created, I just remember like how great that was, that you could go there and essentially find any question to any answer that you want to, and it's accurate because it's actual fans or people with knowledge who are adding the information in there. Um,
Absolutely.
and doing the work. So it doesn't go unnoticed, the work that you guys do, and
Well,
anyone who
thank
does
you.
any other kind of wikis that keep up with that kind of stuff, because it's, I mean, it's very useful for everyone.
Yeah, no, and that is exactly why we do it. We just, want to keep it, you know, useful and accurate for fans, and have them have a place where they can contribute, any of their knowledge or any of their research. But also, since often the wiki is quoted or referenced by major publications like the Times or whatever.
Yeah.
And, it's important that, people who aren't in the know about Barney are getting it from people who do know, and not
Yes,
just like, the bottom half of a Wikipedia page.
for sure. Absolutely. Otherwise, we'll end up with like a show like Barney's World. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I can't throw a lot of shots at Barney's World today. Um,
Hey, it's okay.
let's talk about your YouTube channel though. It looks
Mhm.
like the most popular video you have on there was uploaded, I think, like 6 years ago, and that was Barney visiting the hospital in like '89.
Oh yeah.
Um, you're at like 150,000 views for that.
Yeah.
But your video essays, the most popular one so far, which is hilarious to me,
Oh
is the
yeah.
one that you did on the pistachio episode, which is at 70,000. When you
Oh
started to
yeah.
try to kind of do those videos and those video essays, if you will, did
Mhm.
you think that they would get as popular as they have been, and that you'll have people as interested? Or um, did you think that it would get to kind of the point that it is now, where people are, every time you post a video, they're looking for it, or they're jumping on your live streams that you do, and they're
Mhm.
engaging with you, and they like the content and supporting the content that you create?
Um, well, when I started making video essays, my initial hope was just to be like, I want to condense kind of some of the stuff that we've written on the wiki, and stuff that probably just doesn't fit super well on like a wiki format, where it's just like super flat, or, it just wouldn't work for, I think a video like that would be, I made a video about Barney toy prototypes,
Mhm.
and I am not super sure how I would organize that into, like, for example, a wiki article, because there's so many different manufacturers, they
Sure.
different stages of production, there's different merch that was made and then canceled or edited. And kind of the best way to represent that is just by talking about it. And a video essay allows you to convey information in a way that's not as uh it's a more conversational, yeah, it's a video essay, but there's pictures, and you can make jokes, and you can point at stuff with your own
Mhm.
opinion, because wiki articles are very editorial, there's no
Yeah.
opinion there. So in using the video essay format, I'm able to get, kind of my thoughts out there, while also, explaining history in kind of a more engaging format. And I mean, I feel like any content creator is, they're going to hope people enjoy it, or they're going to hope people take away some
For
kind of
sure.
information for it,
Mhm.
from it, that is to say. So I was hoping, just that people would see it, enjoy it, learn something initially. But no, I have been very surprised and very honored that people, actually look forward to seeing stuff,
Yeah.
so, or, even people who, had no idea who I was or what was going on, who
Mhm.
stumbled upon the pistachio video and was like, "What is this
What is
episode
happening?
even?" Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, I try to keep my videos dense enough that they will be interesting to, Barney lore heads like
Mhm.
us, who we already know everything. We don't need to be like, "Did you know that Barney
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
originally green?" type stuff, but also keep it, open enough so people who aren't as familiar can start to learn. So
For sure.
it's like kind of balancing it in there. But no, I've been very pleased with the response, and I'm super excited about that. And I mean, every time I live stream, I'm still like, wow, thank you guys. I'm
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah, no, I enjoy it a
Well,
lot.
that's awesome. I remember when you started doing the video essays, um,
Mm-hmm.
because it surprised. I mean, I talk to Kaylin and Hedge all the time, and
Yeah.
Hedge is one of the best video essay kind of people for Barney. He was like the
Totally,
trailblazer
totally.
for it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I remember when you started doing the video essays, and we were just super surprised, the same way that we were with Barney Desk, because it wasn't just more people are now doing these video essays, which is great. But it
Mm-hmm.
was just the quality and the time that you guys, both you, Barney Desk, clearly take to put into what you're creating
Oh
before
yeah.
you put it out, is very noticeable from the very moment you start watching. The first video that you put out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I still remember noticing those videos start popping up, and we were like, "Yo, who is this person? Where'd they come from? And why are they just now doing these videos? Why haven't they been doing them?" So
Yeah.
I think honestly, I think between you, Barney Desk, and Hedge as being the most consistent with these type of videos are also some of the best who do it. There's other great people
Mm-hmm.
as well, but just the time and the intention that you guys take to put into it is very evident when people are
Mm-hmm.
watching. And I think that also speaks to why there's so many people that support it, and then they're looking for more. I wonder what they think about this thing or this topic, or what next episode are they going to talk about, or what crazy
Absolutely.
thing in history. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, it doesn't go unnoticed. The stuff that you guys do is great. When you started doing these video essays, had you done any kind of video essay kind of thing before, or was doing them for Barney the first introduction into you making those kind of videos on YouTube?
It was actually genuinely my first time making video essays.
Wow.
I was like, I think I can do this. I think
Yeah,
I can find a format that works for me. I I can't always make videos as often as I would like, because I have a 9 to 5 like everybody else. Um, but I figured out, I can make these. There are ways to you know, get what I want to say out there in a format that looks pretty good, and people can latch on to see pictures, videos, and have an ongoing narration, listen to it in the background
yeah,
type of thing, or more actively. But yeah, no, it was my first foray into that. And I mean, like you said, Hedge and Desk, very talented creators.
for sure.
So yeah.
Yeah,
No. Hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
What is as you are archiving this stuff, is there
Hmm.
one thing that you've archived or maybe you've uncovered uh, that hadn't been seen before, or hadn't had much information on it, that is like your favorite thing so far, or the coolest thing so far that you've archived?
um I think definitely some of my I have I have probably two categories. I have stuff that's really cool, and then stuff that I found that just ended up having a fun story attached to later.
Mhm.
My favorite stuff to find and things that I've um put out either on the wiki or in a video essay have been finding stuff from the really early days, backyard gang type of thing.
Yeah,
I found a picture of the 88 costume at Burger King in 91, and
interesting.
that was crazy. That's in my 91 video, so
Mhm.
anybody wants to see a fabulous Burger King advertisement starring the 88 costume, it is there. Um, Finding photos from the filming of season 1, all the visits that Barney did in 1990 to the Allen Public Library, that stuff that is really hard to find in random spots or like buried underneath a bunch of years old news. That has been, I think, probably the most exciting type of finds, and I always love sharing those with the community, either like I said, by posting them on the wiki or releasing them in a video essay type of thing.
Yeah,
My favorite archive work from I was really glad I did this standpoint was I don't know if you recall, but on the original Barney website, they had a section where they kept the bedtime with Barney stories so that you
Mhm.
could listen to them, look at some of the pictures, the artwork,
Yeah.
and hear, Barney tell you the story. And so while I was on the website, the files were in some kind of really strange format, especially the pictures that went along with the audio. So
Mhm.
buried underneath all this dead internet architecture that, wouldn't work anymore because no flash or there's no server running it anymore, and incomprehensible file types, like
Yeah.
deep and stuff. I ended up doing a bunch of conversion wizardry with a bunch of different programs. I was in Macromedia, like old
Wow.
versions of Macromedia, trying to open this stuff, director files. So last June, I then took all those and put them in the much more listenable format of, here is the picture that accompanied it, here is
Mhm.
the audio, it is one big YouTube video, here's the chapters. So just go crazy, go nuts, listen to it again. And um I enjoyed uploading that. And but what really meant a lot to me was I got a comment from uh this lady who said that she was in tears and incredibly grateful to be able to hear these again, because she used to listen to them on the website in the late 90s and was convinced she was never going to be able to find them and, listen to them again. So she thanked me for putting them on YouTube in a listenable format. And I got all choked up, of course. And then I was like, you know what? That is exactly what it is all about. It is
Mhm.
getting this stuff out there so that people can, enjoy
Yeah.
history and just this content with this, incredible character that, I mean, those who know love,
Yeah.
So that meant a lot to me to be able to do that. So,
That's awesome. It's
mhm,
always great when you can, just from the your hobbies or the things that you're interested in, create something or go out and do something, and then you get to hear stories or you get to see the impact that you make just by doing the things that you enjoy doing.
mhm,
It's always fun to hear those kind of stories. When I was younger, um, when I was 15, my first job I had or business I started was a costume character business, and my first
mhm.
costume was a Barney suit. And I used to go to
Oh,
malls and daycares and places like that for free and just perform. My uncle had a store in the mall, so like every Saturday of every month, I was there just performing outside his store, bringing business into him, but taking pictures with people.
I
And
love that. That's awesome.
yeah, but it was like it for me. It was always more fun. It was fun to kind of emulate and be that character, but it was always cool just watching kids light up because they see this character that
Absolutely.
they truly believe in. Or you have parents come up to you and they're thanking you because their child is it made their day or whatever it was. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's those kind of moments where things everything that you do has an importance. So sometimes you don't know. I'm sure for you went through all of that work for those videos and put
Mhm.
it out, never thinking it was going to mean that much to somebody. But
Oh, yeah.
it's I think that's what the most rewarding thing is you never know the impact you're having on people just by doing the stuff that you like to do. But it's always rewarding to hear those stories because it kind of puts it in perspective of like, oh, this actually means something to someone else as well, which I think is
Definitely.
just great. You talked about so me having that costume, and then I grew it into more mascot costumes and things
Mhm.
before I quit doing it a few years ago. You said you had an interest in mascot characters. Did you also had worn some before as well? Is this correct? Is that what you said?
Yes, no, for 3 years, I worked at, Chuck E. Cheese, and that was tremendously fun
Yeah,
and equally as rewarding, and I would have the same kind of experiences where it was like, you really meant something to somebody on,
yeah.
someone's birthday, or maybe they're just there to visit, and, you never know what there was a great video that they played during training where, it would focus on like different hypothetical people and
Mhm.
kids that were in the store, and it was like you never know what somebody is going through, so always approach people with kindness. And that was kind of what I would do as Chuck, because um you know you can really make someone's day like that.
Yeah.
It absolutely, elevates an experience. Because, like you said, this is a. I mean, they're real to us in the metaphysical sense, but
Mhm.
they're absolutely certainly real to the kids, and it is so special, and it's like a sacred thing for them.
Yeah.
So I always made sure that if Chuck was out, he was gonna pay attention to you. You were gonna get your moment. We were gonna do whatever you want to do for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What got you, this is pivoting from Barney just a little bit, but what got you
Hmm.
interested in mascot characters and puppetry and the kind of things that you mentioned early in the beginning of this episode?
Hmm.
What what sparked your interest for that, and that made you want to take steps toward, doing something like working at Chuck E. Cheese and wearing that suit?
Um, and I can actually boil it down to the very moment. It was super
Yeah.
pivotal for me. It was I was literally in 6th grade. It was very early in the year. Everybody's in middle school and it's awkward and stuff. But they're like, "Hey, we're gonna do a your guys' first pep rally. Come out, see what that's like, enjoy it." So we all go down there, and we're sitting in the field watching, waiting. The cheerleaders come out and they have danced a little bit, but then um coming across the field, like, big and dramatic in a golf cart is our school's mascot, and he was a wildcat. It was literally just like High School Musical.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so here comes the wildcat, and as soon as, he shows up, everybody loses their marbles, and he
Mhm.
jumps out, and he's dancing, and now he's hanging out with the cheerleaders, and he's hyping everybody up, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness. How do
Mhm.
I do that?" Because this guy, everybody's feeling awesome. We're all hyped up. We got school spirit. We're ready to party, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, everybody is so, happy. I'm like, I would love to be able to bring a character like that to life for for the purpose of, hyping people up or just,
Yeah.
making a difference. So for me, mascoting is definitely a performance thing. And um for stuff that's not necessarily mascot, but other character costumes, like I've always loved Star Wars, those kinds of characters like the Ewoks, um sort of the fantasy films that use a lot of walk around character costumes or puppets or um one of the I think most similar to Barney for me would be the 80s character Teddy Ruxpin,
Oh,
who
yeah.
yeah, so they did have a live action uh movie, and those were character costumes with, articulated heads. And
Wow.
yeah, so a very cool concept. I've always thought that kind of stuff was amazing, and it really made, a character come to life. So I've always found that kind of performance aspect to be super interesting and appealing. And that's why even when I was like, I don't think I'll get into the show, but I super appreciate the artistry and the
Mhm.
technicality of all this. Um, at his spaces level, I do think that is super cool.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Good stuff. So, you said you wore Chucky for like 3 years.
Yes.
Do you still, do any kind of mascot character stuff, or is that like a thing of the past now?
Um, I would definitely like to do it more.
Mhm.
I have less time as a whole because 9 to 5. Um,
Yeah,
but definitely I have a few of my own characters that I've created that either have partial costumes or stuff I'm working on for the future. Um, but it's definitely something that's still important to me, even though I don't do it as much. It's something I want to hang on to and possibly work into for the future.
yeah. Do you have a dream? Even you're an adult, obviously, and we have day-to-day jobs.
Mhm.
But a lot of adults, we grow up, we dream to do something, and then as we grow up, because of the everyday cycle of, I mean, honestly, just survival of responsibility, paying bills, working, and doing that kind of thing. Sometimes that gets put on the back burner. Not everyone gets a chance to, uh, still chase what that dream is. Do you have a dream
Mhm.
though of something that You're such a creative person. Is there something that you still want to do, that if you could do it as a full-time job, it's this one specific thing?
Hmm. Oh, absolutely. I guess it's a couple things. I always said I wanted to be a character performer at Disney, which
Mm, yeah.
not super realistic. And I know that, in our hypothetical situation, it would be a decent paying job.
Mhm.
um, but that, or seeing the especially in the early days, that sort of creator, you know, creative, you know, educational kind of dream team of working on a project like Barney. It
Yeah.
it wouldn't have to be Barney specifically. I mean, I think we'd all like a shot at, let's try running this again. Not like not like
For sure.
Barney's World. Let's give it one more shot.
Yeah.
I think I would love to be a part of a project like that, but also, any sort of a project like that where everybody's working together to make something, you know, a show, something like that.
Yeah.
I've always been super interested in that, so I think that would be super cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I vowed to, if if I ever get to the level that, I have the money to revitalize the show, that I would do it. And specifically
Absolutely.
go and handpick, people such as
Mhm.
yourself that actually know the show and understand the show. Because I think
Totally.
I love that Barney is here for kids today. I have young kids. They love Barney's World just as much as
Mm.
they love the actual the other, I don't want to say actual show. That is an actual show.
Yeah.
As much as they love the classic Barney, if you will.
Yeah.
But it was surprising to me that they went the animated route, only because, not surprising in the grand scheme, because that is what children's media is today. It's
Yes,
one reason why the
definitely.
show that I have is live action, because so much is animation. But it was very strange to me that they wouldn't go the route of live action, knowing that it's a little bit more expensive. But at the time Barney came in to PBS, there was a lane wide open for what that show became. And
Exactly.
interestingly enough, there, that lane is open again. That it was very strange that they wouldn't jump into it. There's nothing for children that's live action with the costumes and actual kids on the show, as far as preschool shows go, anymore. Not
No.
in the mainstream. So it was very interesting to me that they would not just operate that lane that Barney had carved years ago, since it's wide open again. That I think it could definitely work in today's age.
Oh, I definitely agree with you, and if you do ever end up in charge of it, you'd be great, you know? Yeah.
I would
But
like to think so. It's so
yeah.
much that can happen with it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's, especially nowadays, there are so many possibilities.
Mhm. For sure.
And, you know, I guess I guess that's why I'm slightly hopeful for you know, I mean, we still have the amorphous mystical movie that may or may not ever
Yeah.
appear situation. Um that I there's stuff in the pipeline, perhaps.
Mhm.
But even though we go through these slower periods of fandom, it's, something this big and this iconic and this still full of possibilities is never gonna, completely taper out.
For sure.
I understand. I mean, I wasn't here, but from what I've heard from others who were and seen stuff for myself, there were a couple of times when it was like, oh gosh, is just we're kind of in this state where this is just what it is now. This is the state of
Yeah.
Barney. But I I am hopeful for, something down the line. Eventually, it'll get into people who actually kind of connect the dots on what made the show so
For sure.
compelling and, why Barney is what he is.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanna touch on this real fast before we I have a couple more questions, and then we'll wrap it up. But,
Okay.
I had no idea early on that, the Instagram page that you run, A Barney a Day,
Mhm.
was the same person who also ran Barney Millennium and
Yeah.
these kind of things. I
Mhm.
I don't know when I finally realized it. I think I actually don't know when I finally realized they were all the same people, but I came
Yeah.
across to you on Instagram and you were sending me uh like a year ago or maybe even longer than that,
Oh,
like
yeah.
this fan art
Mhm.
of characters from Mr. K's Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Um which is always fun to receive and
Mhm.
you're an amazing artist
Thank you very much.
yeah, and that right. So much so that for people who don't know, I had you do some artwork for us for our Christmas movie that we did last year, um,
Mhm.
Holiday Helpers, which now is on Amazon Prime. So that's awesome that more people get to see it. Um, but
Absolutely. Go watch that, you guys.
yeah, please, because it's I mean it supports people like you who get that opportunity to have your artwork shown, and then the
Mhm.
likes and who
I
wrote.
I was very honored.
Yeah, you are so great with that. Um, my question to you about uh the artist side of you where you do these
Mhm.
drawings and things um did you always have that skill from a young age or is that something that you developed as you got older um where did the artist kind of bug if you will come from for you?
The artist bug came from for me in I was about 9 or 10, and I mean, I feel like, most kids draw at least to a
Mhm.
little just to some degree for around that age, and then you either kind of stop or um I was very invested in a book series at the time, and this was, back in the day when everything was still on actual forums,
Mhm.
and you had to send a fax to join it. But I would see people making fan art of the book series or their own like comics or anything, and I was
Mhm.
like, "Wow, you can do that? That's crazy!" Like in the computer. So I figured out, "Hey, you can draw and paint. Can you guys believe this?" So I started drawing there, and it turned into this big long pursuit of you know making artwork, you know,
Yeah.
at a okay, let's say call it way better than it was when I was 9. So,
Sure.
yeah, yeah. But no, it's something that I've, worked on over the years to draw basically pretty much whatever I was into at the time, and I still do.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
the work that I've seen from you is amazing. So,
Thank
um,
you.
yeah, for sure. Um, do you have? I know the very early years is your favorite era of Barney.
Mhm,
Is it? Do you have being a person that came to the show later and watching through it, and now you do these essays and all those things? Is there
mhm.
a specific episode or a song that you find yourself more connected to than the other stuff that have been created with the series?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was my first foray and into the series, and say what you want about it. I am always going to have a very, very special place in my heart for BGA.
Mhm.
But my favorite episode is actually an adventure in make believe.
Okay, yeah,
It clears. I love that episode because it has I love episodes that have just enough of a plot or an idea that
for
it's,
sure.
it's a good, starter adventure for the kids watching. It's not so dense that they can't actually follow what's going
Uh-huh.
on,
Yeah.
but it's like, hey, we're having trouble
Mhm.
imagining this. We're gonna help you do it. Here's how we do it. We're gonna use you must find the princess, the magical map. It's a classic, all this stuff, and, it's fun seeing, uh, you know, BJ work it out and all the kids helping him, and then, just the subtle transformations of the set. I feel like it covers a lot of what makes the series so great.
For
You
sure.
know, you've got I mean, at the time, all the dinosaurs were present.
Mhm.
Um, great kid cast, the songs are bangers, and,
Just imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. One of
debut.
I mean, absolutely. And I mean, that if not my favorite song, top, top
Mhm.
5, I suppose.
Yeah,
It is a classic. You can't beat it.
for sure. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Um, cool. So usually what we do is when I ask people to come onto the podcast, I ask them to bring something Barney related that they own that means more the most to them than other things and have a connection to.
Ooh,
Obviously,
I
we
got
can't
one.
obviously we can't see what you have, but
I
yeah,
can show it to you.
oh sure, yeah, would if you
Yeah.
would like to, and then
Mhm.
also just share why that is the thing that you've chosen.
Definitely. I will. It is super funny because um it is a Barney plush, and I will do my best to show him to you. And here he is.
Oh,
It is
nice.
Press
The rare
Reporter
ones.
Barney. And
Yeah.
yeah, I did do a mini essay about him, but
Mhm.
um he's not, in my opinion, he's not just cool because he's like um promotional plus. What actually is super cool to him is that this is the variant with the pencil.
Yeah.
And he I kind of feel connected to him in the sense that, like, that's me. That's what we all do. We're all
Mhm.
reporters, We are cataloging Barney history. We're making sure that this all gets written down.
Yeah.
And basically, yeah, no, that's why I really have an affinity for him and what he represents to me. So this is my guy right here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's great. I love all
Mhm.
the promotional. I like all the promotional stuff. When I was a kid, I owned like tons of stuffed animals and things for Barney.
Mhm.
Um, and then I gave them away when I was a teenager. I was still a fan of the show, but I gave them away
Yeah.
because I was like, well, Barney's not going anywhere, so these aren't going to be worth anything. And then
And
like
then
five
it's
years
like,
later, it was over,
whoops.
and then it was like, oh man. So as I started to collect more, this is not even a fraction of the actual stuff I have. My closet, I call it, is just very small. But
Yeah.
as I started to collect again, more so in the mindset for my kids to be able to pass it down to them. The only thing
Mhm.
from my childhood that I still have are when I gave away all my toys that I had, I kept my favorite toy for each of the dinos. So I kept
Yeah.
well the only riff stuffed animal I had, and
Yeah.
then my favorites of the BJ Baby Bop and Barney's, and then I gave the rest away. And then I
Mhm.
had all of my VHS tapes and DVDs because my grandma would buy them every time they were released in stores. She would call me before I moved
Mhm.
in with her, and if it was new to her, she would call and see if we had it, and then she would buy it. So I have every single release up until like when they started doing all those clip shows at the very very end. I didn't
Yeah.
all of those episode compilation tapes.
Mhm.
Those are the
Definitely.
ones I had as a kid, but
Mhm.
as I started to collect as an adult, I was, like, very intentional about getting more rare things or things that have more of a story to them or a meaning to me, and so,
Definitely.
yeah, like the promotional stuff, um, or, even these very old, Backyard Gang or the gun dolls that they're not
Oh, yeah.
entirely rare, but they are to just enough to a degree. That
Yeah.
kind of stuff is fun to collect, and then tell people about it.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, this is my favorite. I'll show you my favorite thing that I don't want to say it's my favorite thing,
Mhm.
um, but a rare thing. I own two very rare things. So I have this. I don't know if you ever seen this on the podcasts before,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That one is amazing.
but this is David Voss's jacket.
Yeah.
It has his
And
name
that's
on it.
incredible.
And when I did this podcast with him,
Mhm.
I think it was a year ago. Maybe it's been almost 2 years. He gifted that to me, which was really awesome.
That's
Um,
amazing.
but then I also have the Ringmaster Barney.
Oh, that's an iconic plush. I love that
Yeah,
one.
and it was fun to me because I've never seen it outside of like the magazine picture that everyone always shares.
Yep.
Um, but he's very weird because like none of his stuff is attached. So like his hat can come off
Yeah.
and all of his clothes can come off, and it's just a standard Barney doll, which is very interesting to me that it's not like sewn on and connected.
Yeah,
Um,
you would expect that.
yeah, but it's still really cool to like have. So yeah, it's fun to have like those rare things that have a sentimental value to you, but also like just cool history to it, also that you can share with people. So that's really cool.
Totally.
Thank you for sharing that stuff. Before I have my final question and we wrap this up, uh, is there anything else that you want to share, or would you like to let people know where they can find you if there's new stuff that you're working on that they can expect to come out? Anything like that that you want to plug in?
Well, as always, I literally end all my videos like with a "and as always," but
Mhm.
you can find me a Barney a day, which is simply called that because I post Barney every day. Something you will see something. Um, and you can find me on the wiki or, on YouTube as usual, Barney Millennium. So yeah, am I always have something in the works, one or two somethings in the works,
Yeah,
so be prepared for that. And yeah, I think that's all for me on terms of that front. But yeah,
wonderful.
definitely check out all those. And if you guys have noticed, like as mentioned previously, starting up more interactive posts within History Fans, so
Yeah,
definitely be on the lookout for more history posts, more interactive type things, and just sharing, treasuring Barney history with everyone.
awesome. Thank you so much. Um, the last question that I always ask on this podcast for everyone is why Barney? For you, whatever that means to you, just why Barney? What do you think made you why do you think you gravitated more to this character, especially not growing up with it?
Mhm.
Um what do you think it is about that character that makes him so special or so important?
There are a couple of um, Barney releases or like character descriptions of him that mention that the point of the series or the point of Barney himself is that it is to show, the audience unconditional love. And that has always struck me as being very poignant because here's this, big goofy dinosaur, and he's silly, but he also, especially I feel like it's most visible in the season one costumes where he has the big heavy lids. He's not only fun and, peppy and, he always brings the energy, but
Hmm.
he also has the capability to be very slow and very wise without, ever coming off as pretentious or like, listen here, youth. It's just like Grandpa Barney, nope. But he has both perpetual, youthfulness to him, but also this age and wisdom. And with that age and wisdom is his sort of, I've been around.
Hmm.
I know exactly the kind of things and feelings you're going to be feeling growing up and learning things. And I am right here with you to figure them out, to express your feelings, to learn to put names to things, to, learn your regular academic things, but also how to be a good friend, how to take care of yourself, how to all this stuff. And the whole time you're with a character who is not only fun and exciting and gonna get hype with you, but
Hmm.
you can always rely on. You can always count on Barney to love you because Barney loves everyone, It's just this really nice universal quality that I don't think a lot of characters have. There's lots of kids show characters that's like, "Oh, it's your friend, it's your pal or whatever," but, you know, Barney really is a friend for life kind of, as they say. Because I feel like it goes much deeper than that because, I mean, he was quite literally born out of love.
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense that, he would continue to embody that, even if we kind of mess it up a little bit with the Barney's World stuff, at the end of the day,
Mhm. Yeah.
the whole underlying thing has always been love, and the unconditionality of it I think is particularly interesting. And so I think that is why I have gravitated so strongly because he is entirely genuine,
Mm.
and that's very special, especially in our the world we have today.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome.
Mhm.
I love it. That's a great way to put it. Thank you so much
No,
again,
thank
Sam,
you.
for sitting down, having this conversation, sharing more about you and your interest. Again,
Absolutely.
I'm always amazed by your talent and
Thank
all
you
the
so
things
much.
you do. Absolutely. Please keep that up. For everyone that's watching, make sure you give her a follow, Barney Millennium on YouTube, Barney a Day on Instagram. Um, she's in the History Fans group as a moderator as well. But just find ways to support. I think that's the best thing that what I really love about our community is
Absolutely.
even though there can be disagreements sometimes and discussions which
Mhm.
are part of the fun, but there's a lot of people who genuinely support and bring people in to this family that we have, and
Mhm.
that's something that I really appreciate. So make sure you all support Sam if you will, and engage with the creative content that is being done over on her side. And then thank you again, Sam, for agreeing to do this. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
For sure. All right, everyone, Barney History fans, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Spots of Love podcast, and hopefully we'll see you in your spot of love. Take care.